Welcome to the tutorial on Asana integration with UiPath. To learn Asana, first of all, you need to know what is Asana. Asana is a project management tool. Asana is a cloud-based work management platform used for team collaboration and project management. This is a project management tool. On my channel, Automate with Rakesh, you have a very specific video created to learn more about how Asana software works, how you can manage your projects in Asana tool, how do you create tasks. There are many things I have covered in this particular video, Asana for beginners. In that video, I have also explained how do you create a Asana account and you log in. For that, you need to watch that video. For this video, we'll be fully focused on the integration of Asana with UiPath using the UiPath Integration Service. Let's see how to integrate Asana with UiPath. For this, you need to open the Automation Cloud. Click on the breadcrumb symbol and open the Integration Service. If you don't see the Integration Service here in the favorites, you might see it here. Open the Integration Service. After that, on which folder you like to create the integration, you need to select the folder. After I have selected the folder shade, I'm going to click on Connectors tab. And here I should search for the software Asana. You will see a card. I'm going to click on this card. And here you have something called Connect to Asana. Before you hit on Connect to Asana, ensure you already have an account created in Asana and you have logged in. So here if you see, I have logged into asana.com. All I have to do here is hit on Connect to Asana. And you can see it's authenticating me and it's asking shared folder and OAuth 2.0 authorization key. So this one will not ask for any client ID, secret key and all these things. It's pretty simple. All you have to do, hit on connect, just keep your Asana logged in so it understands. Now it is asking me grant permission. UiPath for Asana is requesting permission to use Asana Connect to access your Asana account. Would you allow it? So yes, I will say allow. After some time, you will see successfully connected. And if you go to your folder and go to the second tab called connections, here you can see the status is now connected. Next thing that will come to our mind is, are there activities available in UiPath Studio to work on Asana? So for this, if you go to the connection tab and here, if you click on this activities tab, you can see there are many activities available to work on UiPath Studio. So for example, there are 3 trigger activities, event trigger activities: project status updated, record updated, task completed. These are the 3 event trigger activities available. And also there are many activities related to Asana: creating a project, creating a task, delete a record, get project, get record, get task, insert record, list all records, replace record, update task, search task and update projects. So these are the activities. If you master on this, how these activities work, I think you would have a good amount of knowledge to build a project if you get on Asana. So why delay? Let's get started with our very first activity called create project. To do this, the very first thing what we will do is create a blank process in our UiPath Studio. So here I have already created a blank process called Automate with Rakesh Asana integration. So you can give any name, and once it is created, open it up. I am using UiPath Studio version 2025.0.161. Now what feature or benefit I would get is, I don't have to install dependencies manually. All I will do, simply type Asana, and let's say I'm interested in one of the activity called create project, the very first activity. I'm going to drag and drop this activity to my project. By doing this, it is going to install the relevant dependencies. So all this integration related activities are now packaged under UiPath.integrationservice.activities. Okay, so I'm using the stable version 1.15.0 There could be beta version, so I'm using this one. If you get any error, simply right click on it and there will be something called repair dependencies. If you get any error, simply do a repair dependency and it's going to fix it. So you can see the create project activity is now dragged onto my studio. So what next? The very first thing it is asking, okay, so you have a Asana connection in your automation cloud in this particular default Rakesh. So this is #2. So what is this #2? Let's go back to our Asana, to the integration service. Let me click on connections. So here if you see the connection, that it has got a name called rakesh@gmail.com #2. You can always rename it. For example, I'll say Asana integration. Asana UiPath integration. Let's say Asana UiPath integration. So this is the new name I have provided. Now after you have provided a new name, this is not mandatory, but if you do it, it's good. Now what happens here? You have to refresh your resources. Okay, so I'll simply just refresh it, or else you can delete the activity and re-add it. Anything is fine. So here let's see. So now it's still not happening. Let me remove it, drag and drop the create project activity once again, and here let's see. You see the name has now changed. Asana UiPath integration. Whatever name I've given, it is going to appear. After that, it is asking you have to select the workspace. Okay, so what is this workspace? I'm going to show you. So if I go back to Asana, this is my Asana. So here if you click on your profile icon, you see I have something called my workspace, and there is something called automate with Rakesh workspace. So I can create as many workspaces. So what is a workspace? For example, I need to manage all the projects related to IT department. So I'll create one workspace for IT department workspace. I need to build projects for HR department where all the projects are there. So I will create another workspace called HR department. So it's more like categorizing it. Okay. So here I have got two workspaces. So in this one, you can use any of them. So my workspace and automate with Rakesh. So the number of workspaces that you have in your Asana, it's going to show you. So here I am going to select my workspace. Okay. And based on the whichever workspace you want to work, you can select it. After that, it is asking team. Okay. Now you want to create a project. For which team would you like to create it? So what is this team? If I go back to Asana, here if you see, there is something called team. Here I have created a team. Currently I am the only member, but you can imagine you can add as many members you would like to add. Okay, so I can invite more people into this. So for example, I can just have to write the email address here and send the invite, so they can be part of this team. So by default, based on your workspace name, you would see a team created. So this is the my workspace Rakesh, and there is only one member at this point in time. So I'm going to select the team. Okay, next it is asking due date, who should be the owner of the project, when would you like to close the project. So let's select some due date. Let's imagine a project. Okay, the project is about marketing campaign, or let's create a test project. Okay, you can think of various situations. Let's create a test project, and I'm going to give a deadline of this project which should end on June 30th. The project should complete in June 30th. The owner of this project should be any of the member that is part of your team, right? I have selected one member because I only have one member. I've selected that. Then it is asking, okay, provide a project name. So to keep it easy, I'll simply say RPA test project 1. Okay, I'll keep it pretty simple. And then if you highlight this, there are few output which it gives. Project ID, projects. If you have multiple projects, so we'll use this project ID, Control K, and I'm going to create a variable called project ID. Okay, now the variable is created, and you can see it's a string variable. Let's try to print this output. I'll create a write line and simply try to print the project ID. All right. There are also many things called manage properties. So for example, if I select all, click on save, you will see in the property panel, all these things have come. For example, you like to set the status on track, delayed, or whatever it is. Current status of the author name. There are many other elements or parameters that you can set. Current status created at, start on, current status, followers, what are the followers, what should be the color of the project. Let's use this element. Okay, for example, I want to make it light green, the color of the project. So there are many such elements which you can literally use them. Now for now, as we are getting started, let's keep it simple. And I'm going to save this. All I need is print the project ID. I'm going to run it now. Okay. So what is the name we have given? RPA test project 1. Currently, if I go here, I don't have any projects called RPA test project 1. Okay. If you see, this has been completed. If I go back, here it has created a project called RPA test project 1. You see, it has created a project called RPA test project 1 through UiPath we have created. If you have to create it manually, how you do it? In Asana, you click on create and you click on project and then you provide a name, you select a template. There are many steps you have to go through and then do it. Now with UiPath, we have automated this specific part or portion of Asana integration where we have created a project through automation, through UiPath. Next, we will see how to rename an already created project using UiPath Integration Service activities. For example, you see this project has a name RPA Test Project 1. I would like to rename it to, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Manually, you can do just by clicking here and typing something. This is possible manually, in a very simple way. How can I do it using UiPath Studio Integration Service? Let's have a look. For this, you need an Asana activity, which is update project. Let me drag and drop this update project activity. And then let's select the workspace. Which workspace I am currently working? I am on the My Workspace Rakesh. How do you know this? If you click on your profile icon on the right top corner, you will be able to see which workspace has a check mark or account which has a check mark. So here if you see My Workspace Rakesh is check mark. So this project is under this workspace. Hence, in your studio, you need to select the required workspace. Very important parameter. Then it is asking the project ID. Here there is a trick I am going to show you. But right now what I will do, I'll simply copy the name from here and within double quotes, I'm going to paste. Okay, within double quotes, I'm going to paste this particular name. This will give us an error. I will show you slightly later. Now here, I'm only interested to change the name of the project. For this, you need to come to name and type your own name. For example, I am going to copy everything else here as it is, and I'm going to simply type 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have given a specific number to it. Now, if I run it, will it work is the question. So here you would see an error coming. I'll show you why. So what happened here? It is saying bad request. That means the important property is the project name which you would like to rename. So there is some problem. I'll tell you what needs to be done here. Every project has something called a project ID. For example, here on my hyperlink, if you focus, it is written project. After that, after the forward slash, there are few numbers. You see 1210408575388724. So this is called a project ID. If I go to some other project, you see this also has an ID. If I go to another project, you see every project will have an ID. What I need to rename this is I need to know the project ID. So all I will do, I'll simply copy this project ID. This has to be supplied. After you have collected the project ID, simply paste it here. And then the UiPath should be able to fetch you the real project name. I'm going to simply select it. After this, let me run it. Okay, now you can see it has got a green tick mark. The very important parameter is the project ID. That has to be accurate. If you are getting certain error, that means there is certain problem with your project ID. Now, if I go back to Asana, you see the name has been changed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do one thing. Let's add one more number. Let's say 7, and I'm going to again execute it. Will it work? Let's see. Okay, now it has executed. Now if I go to Asana, you see a number 7 has been added. So this is how you can rename a project in Asana. There is also another way of adding the project ID. Here I'm going to open the expression editor, and in the expression editor you can also put a double quote and put this number, and I'm going to save it. Here let's change the number, the project name. I'm going to add one more number to it, 678 for example. I'm going to run this project. Okay, now it's executing. Now it got a tick mark. It got succeeded. Let's go back to Asana, and you see it will automatically or immediately it will reflect the new name which I have added a 8 to it. The next thing we are going to learn is get project activity. So get project activity, using this you can literally fetch lot many details about your project. So this is the activity, get project activity. This activity requires your workspace like we did previously, and then it requires the project ID for which you need more details. So this project ID is a very important parameter. Do you see the project ID we have to provide? This is the minimum fundamental input it requires. You have to provide the project ID. Okay, so once it has the project ID and the workspace details, okay, then I have created a variable called projects. Now using this variable you can fetch many details. So how can you do it? So let me put the project ID, double quote. Let's go to Asana and let's copy this project ID within quote I have supplied, and I'm going to hit on save. Here I have created a variable called projects, and I'm using a write line activity, and I've written few expressions I'm going to show you. Okay, so the expressions are very simple. String.join, and then I want to print various values of that project. So with that variable that you have created, so the variable name is projects. So you can use a property called dot name to fetch the name of the entire project. You can get the project ID by using dot gid. Okay, and project resource type, project notes, project HTML. Like that I have written many things. Right now I'm going to simply save it, and I'm going to execute this and then show you what those property mean to you. Okay, let me execute this particular activity. So the activity has executed. Let's go to the output panel, and I'm going to copy this to a notepad. Okay, so this is the expression that you see on the screen, right? This is the expression that I have written, and then the output that it has brought. Let's read the output. So what is the output? First thing, projects.name. This has got you the entire project name, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, this is the project name. Project GID, it fetches you the project ID from Asana. Then comes project resource type. It's a project type. So you have different resources, projects, tasks. So this is a project. Project notes, I didn't had any notes, so hence it is blank. Project HTML notes, I didn't had anything, so hence it's blank. Projects permalink URL. Let's say you would like to fetch the URL of the project. So this can be useful. So if you see it here, it has got me the entire link. Similarly, you can also fetch something called projects color. You see the project color has come, right? Similarly, projects.icon, projects default view, project own GID. These are different properties. So some of these properties can be very useful while you are dealing with Asana. Next, I'm going to show you how to create a project using UiPath Studio Web. So this would be an integration service project for creating a project through integration service using Studio Web. How to do that? For that, first of all, you log into your cloud.uipath.com. Here I am using staging.uipath.com. For you, it could be cloud.uipath.com. Once you have logged in, next what you have to do, go to Studio. Try to see if you have the Studio Web, or else click on more. You should be able to find. I'm going to click on Studio. Okay, now the Studio Web has opened. And I'm going to click on Create New. I'm going to create a project. And in this, I see there are three options: Agentic Process, RPA Workflow, and App. I'm going to use RPA Workflow, automate repetitive tasks using robotic process automation. Select this option. Once you've selected the option, it is going to ask you select a trigger for your automation. Right now, I'm not using any triggers, so I'm going to simply close this. So by default, it will be a manual trigger. Here, I'm going to click on the plus sign. It is going to prompt you with a window asking you what exactly you would like to do. So let me type here, I would like to do create project in Asana. This is one way, or else you can simply type Asana, and then you would be able to find all the different activities of Asana and select the required activity. So I've selected the create project activity. On the right hand side, you see there is a small settings kind of an icon, or a wrench icon is there. If you click on this, the property panel comes out. If you click once again, it's hidden. In this one, there are two icons. If I click on the first icon, you would see all the different properties of that activity would appear here. If I click on the second icon, you see the properties appearing more like Studio Desktop. It will appear here. Now it doesn't matter. Let's say, let me select the first one. And here I'm going to select the connection. This connection which we have made on integration service will automatically appear. Select the connection. Now once the connection is selected, you would see a lot of other properties coming. At this time, you can choose to type it here, or you can choose to type it in the property panel by clicking on this button. Up to your convenience. So for me, I think this looks fine. Let me type it here. Now after this, so let's minimize. We get a better and bigger window. It is asking to select the workspace. Exactly the same way we have done for the previous studio activity. The same thing I'm going to select. I'm going to select the team, a due date, owner I'm going to select myself, and then provide a name. Let's provide some name. For this, before I provide a name, let me go to Asana just to see what are the projects already available. So Asana test project 1 is there. So let me create a test project 2. I'll give a name, Asana test project 2. Okay. So once I have done this, you also have something called manage properties. There are many other properties. If you would like to get advantage of, you can use them. Here I would leave them as it is. I'm going to click on show additional properties. This gives you the output. What are the different outputs? Right now I am going to leave it as is. No much changes. Simply provided the project I want to create with a name. Once done, you don't have to save, nothing you have to do because it's a cloud one. It will auto save. All I'm going to do, click on the test on cloud. Now it is saying this project is using a integration, Asana UiPath integration, and then there are no input arguments. All I have to do simply hit on run. Now you can see on the output panel here, this icon, it has started writing. So manual trigger success, restoring nugget packages, so all this work is happening, and now you see this activity has been completed. Let me go to the property panel. Okay, you can see the activity is now completed. If I go back to Asana, do I see another project here? Yes, I see. You can see Asana test project 2 is created. So this is another way of creating a project using UiPath Studio Web. Next, let's go ahead and create a task in the Studio Web inside a project. So what do I mean by task inside a project? For example, let me open one of the project here. Okay, so once you have opened a project, you see the name of the project here on the top. To create a task, for example, you created a project, you want to do certain task. For example, write an email to receive project approval. For example, write an email to receive project approval from the vice president. So this is a task. Now who should do the task? For example, Rakesh. When he should finish the task? By 20th. So this is how you manually create a task in Asana. If you have to do it using UiPath Integration Service, how would you do it? For this, let's go back to the Studio Web. You can do it on the Studio, you can do it on the Studio Web, it's up to you. Here I'm using the UiPath Studio Web for the moment. I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to simply type Asana and look for the task which says create task. Click on this create task and you have to fill all the required formats. So let me open the properties panel, select this, and here let me first select the connection. Okay, and then it will ask me to select the workspace project. Let's say I want to create in project 1, assignee Rakesh, due date let's say 20th, and the task name let's say get project approval, for example. Okay, you also have many other properties that you can utilize: task ID, task name, parent, completed. Okay, HTML notes, due at, external workspace notes. Okay, I'll put some notes. You can use as many properties you would like, you can use them. So I've selected the property called notes, and here I'm going to say set up a meeting with vice president and get the approval. Okay, so whatever you like, you can simply add them, and these are the output properties. For now, let's run this and see whether it's going to create a task for us or not. Okay, now the execution has started. Okay, so now it is successful. Let's go back to Asana, and here let me select the project 1. You see we have created get project approval. Now if I open this, set up a meeting with VP and get approval, so the note has also appeared. So this is how you can create a actual task using the Asana integration service activities. The next thing we are going to try is to get few details of the task. Once I have created a task, I see I have few details in the task. For example, if I open it in a slightly bigger window, I have few important details in a task. For example, to whom this task is assigned to. Next, what is the due date? Right? There's a due date. What is the description? What is the comment? What is the tag used? There could be many such elements which you like to pull for certain automation related activity. So how do you pull the task related details? We are going to see it here. Let's go back to the Studio Web. Here, let's click on this and simply type Asana. And there's a task called Get Task. Click on this particular Get Task activity. And then here, let me select the connection and the task ID. It is asking for a task ID. How do you find the task ID? Every task would have something like this task, and after that there is an ID. From here, if I copy it from 1 and until here, so this is the ID ending with 343, this particular task ID. Let me copy it and I'm going to simply paste it. So this is the task ID. Now click on show additional properties, and here I see there is a variable created called tasks. Under this, I'm going to click on the plus sign and use a write line activity. And in the write line activity, I'm going to use this task variable that was created from the previous activity. And what you need to select here. Very simple. So first thing, I would like to know the assignee name. So I'll click on the assignee. And then there is something called name. So I'm going to click on this particular name once. If you do this and click outside, you see task assignee name has appeared. Similar way, let's add one more write line. And in this one, again, I'll use the task variable, and there is something called due at, okay, due at value. Sorry, due on. There is something called due on value. So now let's do one thing. Let's run this particular workflow and see what is the output we are getting. So first thing, I would like to pull the, okay, now this one is getting executed. Now if you look at the output, the very first write line was about assignee name. Is the task assigned to Rakesh Kumar Behra? Yes. So and the name has appeared. The next one, task due on value 6/20/2025. That is correct. We have selected 6/20/2025, and exactly the same value has been fetched here. So this is how you can work with the get task activity, which would have all the properties of the relevant task. Now there are many Asana activities. To see them, click on the add activity and simply type Asana. There are activities, for example, Asana HTTP request, wait for an event on Asana and resume, get record, list all records, replace record, delete record, insert a record, update task, get project, create task, update project, create task, share task. So these are the list of activities related to Asana. What I want now is you start working on the rest of the other activities which I have not shown in this video, and do let me know in case of a challenge of any activity that you are not able to use. Thank you for watching. Please do let me know in the comment section if the introductory video on the Asana integration was helpful for you or not. Thank you. Let's meet once again in our next content.